The CEO of Ford has just exposed some major issues in an exclusive interview, and the news is causing shockwaves throughout the auto industry. These problems, which range from sloppy design to production delays, might delay the release of one of the most anticipated electric trucks. The future of electric vehicles and Ford's dominance in the auto industry may depend on this update, so don't miss it. Now is the time to discover what's at risk for the F-150 Lightning. At Tech Addicts, you will get the game-changing information on Ford F-150 Lightning is about to be revealed. So fasten your seatbelts and hold on tight as Ford has a better idea. On February 13, 2023, in Romulus, Michigan, Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford Motor Company, pats a Ford F-150 Lightning truck before announcing at a press conference that Ford Motor Company will be partnering with the world's largest battery company, a China-based company called Contemporary Amperex Technology, to create an electric vehicle battery plant in Marshall, Michigan. According to a statement released by the car maker, Ford Motor anticipates that manufacturing of its electric F-150 Lightning truck would be halted until at least the end of the following week to investigate a possible battery issue that led to a vehicle fire on February 4th. The confirmation of the fire and the revised timeline comes only one day after Ford acknowledged that manufacturing of the highly anticipated vehicle had been halted at the beginning of the previous week. The business announced that it believes its engineers have identified the underlying cause of the incident. It is anticipated that the study into the issue will be concluded by the end of the following week. After that, modifications to the production process for the truck's batteries will be made, which may take a few weeks. Ford has stated that the fire started in a holding lot during a pre-delivery quality check and then spread to a car that was parked nearby. The news of the incident was initially broken by the Detroit Free Press. A Ford spokeswoman declined to reveal any additional information about the issue, which resulted in the suspension of production as well as the halting of shipment of trucks that had already been manufactured. SK On, based in South Korea, is the truck's battery provider. The company is a spin-off of SK Innovation, with which the Detroit car maker announced a joint venture in 2021 to construct battery production facilities in the United States. According to Ford's statement, the company is not aware of any incidents involving this problem in vehicles that have already been delivered to dealers and consumers. Retailers are permitted to proceed with the sale of vehicles that are already in their inventory. Investors are keeping a careful eye on Ford's upcoming major launch, the F-150 Lightning, because it will be the first mainstream electric pickup truck available on the market and a significant milestone for Ford. The problem with the batteries is, in addition to the persistent execution challenges that Ford CEO Jim Farley described to investors earlier this month as being one of the factors that devastated the automaker's earnings in the previous quarter. Farley stated once again that car manufacturer needs to improve their operational efficiency to increase their profits and put their margins in line with those of their rivals. According to him, the reason Ford has a cost disadvantage of between $7 billion and $8 billion compared to its traditional competitors makes the company less lucrative. During a conference hosted by Wolfe Research, Farley made the following statement: "We can cut the cost, we can cut personnel, and we can do that pretty quickly, and we'll do whatever we need to. The unfortunate truth is that if you do not modify the efficiency of engineering, supply chain, and production, the fundamental work statement, the way people work, and the efficiency of that, it will grow again." After further reflection, Farley then elaborated, "This is truly about reinventing what we do in the 120-year-old sector of this organization." Problems and recalls with automobiles are a common occurrence for automobile manufacturers. Nevertheless, concerns with batteries are of particular concern and attention because automobile manufacturers invest billions of dollars in the production of vehicles. One of the most noticeable problems has been with the Chevy Bolt EVs manufactured by General Motors. 2 years ago, the Detroit automobile manufacturer was forced to issue a recall for all of the vehicles it had constructed up until that point to solve fire hazards that were caused by rare manufacturing faults at the facilities of its battery supplier, LG Battery Solution. Former Chief Executive Officer Alan Mulally, who was praised for reviving the automaker during its nearly 8 years as CEO before retiring in 2014, expressed frustration with the excessive level of complexity at the corporation. Jim Hackett, who took over as CEO in 2017, was Mr. Farley's predecessor. During his tenure, he prioritized improving the company's operational fitness while simultaneously eliminating thousands of positions. According to David Wisson, an analyst at Morningstar, It is very clear that there were expenses that were either not deducted at all or that were deducted and subsequently reinstated. I can imagine how disheartening that must be for investors. Shares of Ford have increased by approximately 11% since the beginning of the year, which is a decrease when compared to the 28% gain in shares of General Motors and the 20% increase of shares of the company that makes Jeeps, Stellantis NV. The performance of Ford stock during the previous year lags behind that of its competitors. Ford must address long-standing issues in the manufacturing sector while also steering the corporation towards a future that is integrated with electric vehicles and digital services. It is a challenge that other multinational automakers must face as they attempt to improve their legacy operations while also establishing new business models. Ford Executive Chairman William Clay Ford Jr. told reporters on Monday that the company needs to work on everything at the same time. Ford's fourth quarter financial results, which fell short of the company's forecast and sent shares plummeting, were indicative of the company's ongoing difficulties. The adjusted pre-tax earnings for Ford in 2022 were $10.4 billion, which was significantly lower than those produced by GM for the year, which was $14.5 billion. The previous year, GM made more than its competitor despite having somewhat lower revenue and fewer employees. According to the regulatory filings, Ford has approximately 173,000 personnel around the world, while GM has only 167,000. GM also had a higher number of car sales in the previous year, with approximately 5.9 million in comparison to Ford's 4.2 million. According to what Mr. Farley stated during a conference for analysts, his primary priority is on adapting cultural changes that will make Ford more efficient. According to Mr. Farley, quality and cost can be solved by the same approach. This approach involves going into the organization and changing the behaviors of how something is engineered, how it is sourced, and how it is constructed. Analysts believe that the issues plaguing the core operations of Ford could make it more difficult for the company to achieve Mr. Farley's aim of being the leading producer of electric vehicles. The business of selling gas and diesel engine vehicles account for more than 95% of Ford sales in the United States and practically all the company's earnings. This sector generates the revenue that is necessary to underwrite the transition to electric and more digital vehicles. When Mr. Farley makes public appearances, he frequently draws comparisons between Ford and Tesla Inc., the market leader in electric vehicles. He mentions areas in which Ford is falling behind, and he has noted Tesla's cost advantage of more than $10,000 per vehicle, which is a gap that he is working to eliminate at Ford. He also cites other areas in which Ford is falling behind. The CEO has also established the objective of eventually outselling Elon Musk's company in the United States, and he has been actively recruiting employees from Tesla, Apple Inc., and other technology companies to assist Ford in overcoming the challenges that are inherent in the transition to electric vehicles. According to Ivan Drury, an analyst at Edmunds, this level of complexity can make it more challenging for customers to find a car that has the specific combination of features that they are looking for. According to him, the additional alternatives encourage dealerships to place orders for a wider range of products, which can lead to an inflated inventory and an increase in expenses on Ford's system as a whole. When Mr. Farley took over as CEO of Ford in the latter half of the year 2020, he committed to addressing the company's quality issues. According to him, in the years that have passed since then, the business has had ongoing difficulties with excessive warranty expenses and, for the second year in a row, racking up the most product recalls of any major auto manufacturer. He did report earlier this month that the business has started to observe improvements as a result of the employment of a new executive director of the quality and implementation of more stringent pre-production checks, and predicted that there will be further adjustments. Well, the best never rest. That's all for today's video. We'll be right back with more such videos, so don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel.